Okay, welcome back to another episode of Banking Without Borders. So when you hear the words private banking, what do you picture? I'm thinking wood-paneled offices, mahogany, a guy in a suit smoking a cigar, and probably some sort of mysterious black card that's designed to make you feel important. But if there's one thing we've learned on this show, it's that status is usually a terrible reason to choose a financial product. And in 2026, a nicer app, a better debit card, or a dedicated phone line isn't private banking. That's just what decent banking should look like. Real private banking starts when your finances get complicated. So I'm talking property business interests, cross-border assets, tax structures, succession planning, things that actually need managing and not just packaging. So today we're going to look at 4 of the big UK names. Coutts, of course, HSBC Global Private Banking, Barclays Private Bank, and Lloyds. And we're going to rank them from the most accessible to the most restrictive. And we'll also touch on a few names that didn't make the list. And what you'll see quite quickly is that exclusivity doesn't always mean quality. And in some cases, what's being offered here is surprisingly underwhelming. So Jan, shall we begin with Lloyds?
Yeah, Johnny, Lloyds is the most accessible of these private banks that we're going to cover today. Requires 250k in savings with them, or a mortgage/investment of 750k and above. That gets you into the private banking tier. That's not their top tier though. They have something called the Mayfair banking tier, which sounds incredibly exclusive. It gives you, in order to access that, you need at least £2 million in assets with them, or a sole income of 500k and above. Once you're in the door, doesn't mean that you get that much exclusivity. Savers, they probably should choose other banks, right? If they're wealthy enough to access these accounts.
Yeah, the savings rates aren't great. I mean, let's talk about current account interest to begin with. Wealthy individuals are probably...
Is there any?
above £5,000, Lloyds aren't offering any current account interest. It peaks at 3%. But it's okay, everybody, because there are savings accounts that are available to you, and you can get 1.55% up to £1 million. It does get better as you approach £10 million or above. Prepare yourself, you get 3.45%.
Unbelievable.
Just having a quick look at depositscout.com, MBNA, which is actually part of the Lloyds group, are offering 4.52% on a 1-year fixed. That has no maximum balance, Jan. It's very strange, isn't it? These savings rates that Lloyds are offering. You'd think that maybe someone in the comment section, maybe you can help me understand this, mate, but why are these savings rates, and this is a spoiler for the rest of the episode, they don't get much better than this. Why are they so bad?
Maybe they're just not as important for very wealthy people. Because I guess if you're using private banking, you're primarily interested in wealth management, in accessing deals that require special accreditation, for example, and special connections. And cash is typically something that you hold, maybe in between investments. Maybe you're making a sale of a property here, looking to funnel your money elsewhere. You hold 10 million quid in their premier investment account for a few months, and then if it's short term, does a percent really make a difference?
It's true. And that's probably why their overdrafts are quite compelling. Like typically you and I can get access to an overdraft with 39, 40%. Well, for these private banks, they're offering their clients as little as 8%. With Lloyds, it's actually 20%, but it does get better with some of the other accounts that we're going to talk about. But I suppose that's the idea, isn't it? It's to offer better overdrafts because they appreciate that a lot of their clients don't have a huge amount of cash, but they're also, you can guarantee that they'll probably not default because they have such large amounts of assets inside your bank. I think ultimately we're looking at an account that is seemingly underwhelming, but really it's about access to a financial advisor, isn't it? Like a fully qualified, university educated, someone who's knows their stuff.
We don't want to cover all the details of the Club Lloyds account. That's something we've done in the past, but it's also pretty nice to have addition, right? Knowing that there's a good credit card that gives you cash back, that there's Disney Plus with ads, or I think you can choose also if you want 6 cinema tickets instead. Those things are good, but they're not going to move the needle for private banking at all. No. What's a little more compelling? HSBC. Their private banking tier, I see a strong use for international people or people that have their wealth set up in an international way. Several assets in different countries. In order to access it, you need at least 1.5 million quid with HSBC UK, gets you into the door. And something that makes them truly stand out is their overdraft. Where they charge just 8% for private banking customers. Normal customers, on the other hand, customers of HSBC Premier or the normal retail banking products, I think they get charged almost 40%.
They are teasing their clients with that rate, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
You also get travel insurance, is that right, with this private banking tier?
Yeah, that's included. They mentioned it on their website.
HSBC are pretty generous with that. Yeah.
Generous. Are they generous with that by offering free travel insurance?
More generous than Lloyds. At least they're not throwing in Disney Plus with ads for a $5. Like, this is somewhat more generous than Lloyds.
Could argue that for sure. And you got also access to an exclusive lifestyle concierge, someone that can book trips for you, which makes it even more handy for international people. And all these other HSBC products that already stand out for people that have their finances set up internationally. Thinking of the global money account, for example, you can obviously also access that as a private banking customer.
Yes. World Elite MasterCard is available as well. You know, you have the annual fee on that and everything that comes with that account. But I think the big card that they're offering is the HSBC
Privé. That's how I pronounce it. Yeah. If someone from France is listening, please write into the comments how we pronounce that. But I think that's how it's pronounced.
That card is available in Asia, though. Is that right? It's not in Europe yet.
It's been started in Asia, I think, in 2025. In certain countries, Singapore, for example. It's pretty outstanding. I mean, it's very, very exclusive. Gives you an even better lifestyle relationship manager, and you get access to 150 private clubs worldwide.
Ooh, that's great.
Some of which are in the UK, and that's pretty compelling, right? If you think about it, if you think of networking with other high net worth individuals, that's where the true value lies, right? And if a private bank can offer something like that, you know, you can take advantage of it. Then these 1.5 million in order to get the foot into the door, I think they're worth it. They can be really worth it. You know, if you make deals with the people that you meet in there, who knows?
Yeah, it's like a physical LinkedIn
So this is
branch.
expected to launch at some point in the UK as well. It will take some time, but they will most likely pilot this in the UK as well. Maybe even later on this year.
But when it comes to exclusivity or luxury, there is no greater private bank than Coutts. The Queen's Bank, Jan.
Coutts. Incredibly fancy. Almost everyone knows about it, I believe. Everyone listening. And if you don't know about it, please write it into the comments. I'd be curious. In order to get an account with Coutts, you really need to put something on the table.
Yep.
You need to have at least 3 million
Not just your car keys.
in investment assets with them. Alternatively, you can borrow 3 million pounds, right? Obviously, only if your credit worthiness allows for that. Or, and there's something really interesting, they have a business exit program. That's how they market it. And that's aimed at entrepreneurs that are planning to sell a business sale within 18 months, targeting an enterprise value of 10 million and above. So people that are wealthy, but not liquid, but they will become liquid eventually. And Coutts also wants to get them into the door, which is clever.
So are they helping people sell their business, or are they helping people then reinvest the money that they get from the sale?
I think they give you access. That's what they do mostly.
Okay, so they're almost like a marketplace for exit. So they're saying, come with us and then we'll give you access to potential buyers?
No, I don't think they're saying that. I think they're saying if you're planning to sell your business, right, you typically have advisors around you already. If that's the case, it's going to be very concrete. The business is on the market. You're talking to investors. You will become liquid very, very soon, you know, or rather soon, within 18 months. Then they want you in because you'll be one of their customers, you know, eventually. And then you'll obviously spend money with your Coutts card, these kind of things, and probably reinvest your money with Coutts investment services. Makes sense to me. I would take these people as well.
Yeah, it's like a marketing funnel, isn't it? Like a strategic framework for getting in clients, customers, like flyering.
You know what's kind of funny with Coutts? We just mentioned that they have a barrier of 3 million pounds and above. That wasn't always the case. So they had lower entry barriers in the past. And if you've joined, let's say 2 decades ago, you know, entry barriers were lower. You might not have 3 million pounds with them, but let's say you have 400,000 or something like that, a few £100,000. You might be charged a fee then. If you're a UK resident, they charge you £900 as an annual relationship fee. Non-residents pay £1,200. And there's a waiver.
Wow.
If you reach £500,000, that's the threshold for UK residents, they would waive this. And if you reach £3 million as a non-resident, they would waive the fee as well. But can you imagine, you know, living, let's say, in Cyprus? You know, maybe you're a Brit that has moved to Cyprus because the weather is better there and the taxes are lower. And you hold 2.9 million with Coutts. They still charge you £1,200 to keep the relationship alive. I think that's a little harsh.
That's not the full story of what's on offer, Jan. Perhaps £1,200 as an annual fee gets you access to a lot more. I mean, let's talk about the rewards program for a moment, because this is
the rewards
unique.
program, Johnny.
I've never seen anything like this. We've talked a lot about Rev Points on this podcast. We've talked a lot about Avios, but we've never talked about Crowns.
Crowns. That's their rewards program. Fancy name,
Very fancy.
but it doesn't directly mean that the that the rewards you're getting are really worth it.
So how much can we earn?
Crowns are earned at a rate of 1.5 crowns for every pound that you spend if you have over 3 million with them. And that goes down to 1 crown for every pound that you spend if you have less than 1 million with them. I mean, that doesn't say much, right? You need to look at the redemption value of these crowns in order to really estimate what kind of cashback you're getting. Minimum rewards start at 25,000 crowns. You know, that's okay.
Okay, so you redeem them for things. You redeem them for stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you can get things like fine dining packages, some books, rare books.
Rare books.
Rare books, luxury travel. And also something, I think like a fine wine subscription. A fine wine subscription is actually a really great example because they claim that's worth £3,000. And let's assume you're one of their legacy customers. We'll just use that because the math is easier. Guess how many crowns you need in order to get this fine wine subscription worth £3,000, Johnny?
But what is it? So a legacy customer that's getting 1 crown per pound?
Or I mean anyone. How many crowns do you need in order to get the fine wine subscription?
£3,000. It's worth £3,000. So, let's just think about like a first class flight could be worth, say, £10,000, and that might be 125,000 Avios points. Let's just say 75,000 crowns.
No, I mean, that would be incredibly great, but it's far from that. You need 1 million crowns. You need 1 million crowns.
What do you mean? Incredibly great. I spent 75 grand. If I spend 75 grand, surely I could redeem that for something worth £3,000, knowing that it's not directly going to be worth £3,000.
Well, I think that would be really generous. I would probably take advantage of that if I was interested in a fine wine subscription. I'm not, but if I was, I mean, that would be a great rate. You need 1 million crowns in order to get that, and make the math, right? Let's say you earn these crowns at a rate of 1 for every pound that you spend. That means you need to spend 1 million.
I get the math.
In
$1
order
million
to get £3,000 of cash back. That's essentially 0.3%, right?
It's right.
That's right, isn't it? Yeah, 0.3%. It's fascinating.
You're better off going with Lloyds Ultra.
Yeah, although I think that's capped, isn't it?
We'll double check that. I don't think the Lloyds Ultra credit card is capped. It's probably capped it's got a transaction limit. You'd have to, spending £1 million on that card would probably take you a while. But you'd be getting 1% cash back. Amex are offering gold cards, giving you 1 membership reward point for every pound you spend. 1 million Amex points. You'd get a family in first class return, long haul.
Yeah, Amex is a good example.
1 million points gets you a £3,000 fine wine subscription. Honestly, they are taking the piss.
Nothing against fine wine. Fine wine is a good thing.
No, nothing, but that's ridiculous. It doesn't get much better either with the savings rates, I'm afraid, everybody. Looking at that £3 million tier, you get 3.19% for over £3 million in the savings account with Coutts. 3.19%.
Fascinating.
And if you got up to £100,000, like most of us, from £1 to £100,000, most of us have probably got less than that, you're getting 0.55%. There's not even, it's a decimal point and then a number. There's nothing before it. It's just 0.55%.
Wow.
They even, do they call that savings? Is that actually called savings? Is that like on the savings table? I'll check that out. If you're watching this, we can put it on the screen. If that's on saving.
I am speechless.
Instant access savings. I'm going in. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's on the savings page. So it literally is on a page called instant access savings and it says 0.55%.
It's being advertised. It's being advertised.
Oh, they've got euro and Have you seen the US dollar rates?
There's a reason why I didn't put the table into our document. The euro and US dollar rates are unbelievably low.
For those that are listening, over $3 million with Coutts, you can earn 1.15%.
You get more with Wise.
Okay, so we've learned along the way that the savings rates are generally pretty bad. What about Barclays? This is the most exclusive, but how is Barclays more exclusive than Coutts?
Yeah, just slightly more exclusive. So Barclays also requires at least £3 million for UK residents if they want to open up an account with them, and they do not have something like a business exit program. Therefore, it's slightly more exclusive. If you're an international client, that barrier jumps up to £5 million that you need to bring to Barclays in order to get a private banking account. The main benefit here, and that's something that they prominently advertise on their website, is that you get access to their strategic solutions team.
Whoa.
Sounds like a group of people that you call if you have a problem with someone, you want to get rid of them, Not in a nice way, of course. But no, jokes aside, it's access to the Barclays investment banking arm, which can be handy if you're looking to invest your money. And something that they also advertise on the website, priority access to certain investments. So let's say there are properties that are incredibly incredibly popular, where there's a huge demand with Barclays. If you're part of their private banking tier, you get priority access to them. So you might make
That is good.
a really good deal here.
That is good. So are we talking about, say, I don't know, someone's defaulted on a mortgage with Barclays. Barclays have seized the home or the property. That then becomes available.
Yeah, if they sell it below market value, that could be interesting, right? And I guess that's a situation where they would say, private banking people of Barclays,
Assemble.
raise your hand if you're interested. Assemble. Raise your hand if you're interested in this. A few people might look at this and just say, I have 100 million plus. I wouldn't care about spending 500 grand on an apartment in London, for example, that's just available right now. I can rent it immediately. Here's the money. Just take it. And therefore, it makes sense for them, and it makes sense for the people that are customers of Barclays.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, look, for context, the savings rates don't get any better either, people. We don't need to hold on this for too long. It's just the same old story. Over £5 million, you're going to get 3.35%. I think we've figured out at this point that savings with these private banks is not very good. Barclays, of course, as well, are offering a compelling overdraft. The first £1,000 is interest free, and beyond that, you pay a 10.8% rate on your overdraft. An overdraft clearly to compel people to use it at those sorts of rates because they're so low, so generous. Barclays as well offer these accounts access to like the Barclays Avios Plus MasterCard that's there for an annual fee of £240. That has Dragon Pass, so you get lounge access, a few other bits. They've also got the bolt-on from the Barclays Avios program that's available for £12 a month. There's a few other things we've talked about in the past, but ultimately, like the other private banks that we've discussed, Barclays are offering you exclusive access to financial advice and some other, I think, Jan, quite beneficial things like, access to investment opportunities, for example, like you were just talking. But I think out of all four, Jan, I'd be curious to hear what you think, but HSBC to me is the most compelling.
Yeah.
Even though it's not the most exclusive.
For me personally as well, obviously, I'm someone who's far away from reaching these thresholds. I mean, it's not that I'm poor, but you got to be really wealthy in order to make it into the door. But if I had that money, I'm someone who has a very international lifestyle. I'd also be drawn to HSBC. It seems to be the most compelling of these four for me personally. Second one would probably be Barclays.
Yeah, not Coutts, not for the crowns.
Not Coutts, no. Also it's a little bit of a bad taste, I just don't like the way it's
still owned by NatWest, isn't it? It's like
NatWest,
it doesn't feel as exclusive then. UBS and JP Morgan, Jan, I think those names are synonymous with private banking. JP Morgan especially, but also like a Swiss bank. It's like, whoa, that feels private. But we didn't mention those two. I guess they're not UK banks, are they, in the traditional sense?
Yeah, that's what it is. So we're just looking at UK banks here, but JP Morgan, UBS, probably the standout names when it comes to wealth management and private banking.
Can you explain to me who actually needs these accounts?
Yeah, I think we've teasered it here and there throughout the episode already. So these accounts are obviously not interesting because of their core financial benefits. Yeah, they're good for relationships. They're vehicles.
Yes.
You get your foot into the door, you start building a relationship with your bank. And if your finances are incredibly complicated and they, as you become more wealthy, the complexity of your financial situation will rise automatically. Having someone who knows all about it, maybe a banker, is incredibly beneficial. So that's what this is for primarily. Obviously, having a private bank as your main bank comes with other benefits, as we explained, priority investments potentially, but also quick access to liquidity. HSBC, for example, the overdraft rate is amazing. Barclays also has a competitive one of 10.8%.
Yeah.
That can be good, right? Let's say you need liquidity right now. You have lots of stocks, but you don't want to sell them in order to not trigger capital gains tax. Then just phone them up.
Well, extend your credit
Take
line.
advantage of your overdraft and use your money, and money will come anyways later on. That's what this is good for, Johnny. That's what this is good for. If you have to call 4 people in order to figure out where your money is invested and how it's structured, then probably a private bank is good for you. But if it's, for me personally, I don't have that complexity. And I guess most people listening do not either. If you just have to call one person or just log into your online banking, you see everything in one place, then just, don't think about it. It's not worth it.
I open up my app. And that's enough. That's enough. I'd be curious to hear from people in the comment section. Like, what do you make of these banks? We had some wonderful comments, Jan, on our status accounts episode with people actually giving us interesting, like, personal anecdotes where they've used these accounts and they've been able to give us feedback. I don't suppose many people listening to this will have like a Coutts account, but you never know. And if you can provide us with some interesting insight into any of these accounts, we'd love to hear from you. And also let us know what you think of these savings accounts. Like, can someone please explain to me why they're so bad? I think, Jan, you touched on it briefly, but I'd love to hear, why maybe I'm just too poor to understand. Maybe like Jan just said, they're just not that liquid. They don't need to put money into a savings account, but they are terrible. Why is that?
Okay, everyone, thanks for listening. It's been a pleasure. And please rate us with 5 stars, like the video, subscribe, do whatever you can to support us. We highly appreciate it. And see you in the next episode. I think that's what it is.
I think that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you in the next episode of Banking Without Borders.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.